You know, like I was talking about the Galaxy Rangers, and it was kind of a core memory watching them. Well, another thing that is in that same vein is MOSPEADA Genesis Climber. It's the third incarnation of the Robotech series. That's where most of you know it. And there was a motorcycle, Cyclone. We've done the helmet, which isn't up here. We did the helmet already. I want to do the armor. My first, when I saw it, I'm like, I want to make it as realistic as possible. I was going to fiberglass the whole thing. I was going to make actual armor. And then I started modeling it. It went, oh, jeez. The guy who designed it did an amazing job. There are pieces where everything snaps together and stuff that locks in properly. One problem. That's the back panel, which is what we're doing today, by the way. The back panel is one continuous piece, which will not fit over me. I can fit in. I have to arms up, and it slides this way, just because this is just barely big enough. I had to enlarge it to have it fit. But because of that, my lofty goals of making it 100% realistic, kind of out the window. So we're doing a back panel for the Robotech Cyclone, or the MOSPEADA Genesis Climber Power Armor. That's where we're at. That's what we're doing. Let me play in. We'll show you the pieces I got so far. So I printed it up in 4 segments. I got 2 side panels, a neck piece, and a little back support. The back support, lock everything in place so I don't have to worry about glue or seams popping out. I put tabs on everything so it all locks together nice and neat. When I tried it the first time, the first thing that happened, stupid tab popped off. But we've got a couple of pieces. We've got the 2 back plates, which get sanded. We've got the neck piece, which is the neck piece, and then we got this back support. I also printed up, and I'm still in the middle of printing, the 2 shoulder pieces that connect onto this thing and look unbelievably cool when it's all together. Right? Look at that. That's awesome. I love that thing. Step 1 is going to be to sand everything. We're only working on the back plate now. The back plate, we're going to get this 100%, and then we'll move on to the rest. But, usual, we're going to give everything a light sanding, get rid of all this stuff where the support material was, and then see you in a minute. So I'm a little flustered with this build, by the way. Because I'm going for purism, and I want everything to be, just like it was in the cartoon. It's just fighting with me, and it's making me a little unhappy. But I'm going to keep fighting with it, because that's what I do. And in the end, I'm going to be happy with it. So, bit better. It's not bad. Maybe onto gluing. Because this piece, it's molded to fit directly in between these two. And it'll lock everything in place. And I'm going to glue that at the end after I get everything else together. So, I think we may be on to gluing And then we're going to sand the whole thing as one solid piece. I'm not going to know how any of this is going to work until I get this back together. As soon as this is all one solid piece, then I'll even know if it'll work or not, because this could all be for naught. And I'm just using standard Gorilla Glue. Applying to both sides. Not using any activator, I don't think it needs it. On to the other side. I'll come around and see. Let me bring you around. So I'm just putting super glue all along here. I'm using more than I think I need. As I can always take off any squeeze out. But getting more in, once everything's together, is a bit harder. And then on the mating sides, doing the same thing. A little bit of super glue. And we squeeze two parts together. There we go. Try and line stuff up as best we can. Make sure everything's all nice and held in place. There's a bit of a gap here, right? This joining piece, I'm gonna connect everything together. Then I won't have to worry about, because I printed this one kind of like this, so the filament goes this way, which will bridge this gap and make everything pretty durable. Smart thing to do would be to grab my clamps before I got to this point. We both know I'm not necessarily the smartest of guys. I'll be right back. So all of my clamps are currently in another project and were never brought back out to my garage. Seems to be good. Now we're going to give it a good 10-15 minutes. I went a little heavy on the clamps. Already taking a couple of them off. Not bad. Not perfect, but not bad. Good enough that I'm not worried about things falling apart on me. So now I can go back. If I want to PLA weld this, I could. But I think I'm just going to leave it. Let it cure, let it think about what it's done, and pick it up in the morning. Glued the whole thing, and it is rock solid. Very happy with it. Now I'm going to hit it with my sander, get everything smooth, and then we'll put glazing putty on it. So see you in a minute. Loosely sanded. I think I sanded it to 80. I did not go crazy with it. This is the shoulder armor that's going to go on it. Looks really cool. This was going to be more of the shoulder armor that didn't quite do the thing. But I digress. Now we cover everything in glazing putty. There are lots of things you can use. It doesn't have to be glazing putty. I like glazing putty. Nice, light, even coat. So I'm not overtly fond of how this is turning out. It's from an anime, right? And the guy who designed it, who designed this armor, made spots for everything to do all this stuff and combine all together. And the armor itself is just a brilliant concept and can physically exist. All except for one piece. That's this piece. I don't have an anime build. So getting this piece on and off, because the shell is one solid piece. If I were to make it out of foam, I could do it out of foam, because foam's flexible. Armor isn't flexible. So I'm trying to make it, you know, my initial intent was to make this as realistic as possible. Because the guy went to the trouble, or someone went to the trouble of designing it to be as realistic as possible. So I wanted to honor that by doing the same with my build. And I've never seen another cosplayer do this costume. This is an in-depth, like, you gotta love this property to go through this level of trouble. Because there's like, this is the base armor, and then there's armor that goes on top of this. That's the actual Cyclone Armor. And it's going to be heavy. And difficult. But I'm going to absolutely love it, so I'm going to do it. I've wanted this armor since I was a little, I almost said child. I don't think I've ever been a child. But I've wanted this armor for as long as I can remember. But the problem is, again, back to the problem, why I'm not overtly happy with it. The only way to get this thing on is, you know, I have to, and then it just fits. And it's designed for someone who doesn't quite exist. And I can't, to get it on properly, I need a little more gap here on the sides, which is fine. But, I don't know. I'm just not overtly happy with how it's turning out. I could cut this piece right here and add another panel, which would add one seam line and make the entire thing fit so much better. I don't know. I haven't quite decided. This is not going to be a quick build, by the way. This is going to be like I said, it's 2 suits of armor. It's the base costume, and then the Cyclone, which is a motorcycle that converts into body armor. None of that sounds fast to me. So I'm just going to cover this whole thing in glazing putty. You don't really need to sit and watch me do this. Y'all have seen me glazing putty before, right? You have, right? I've got a bunch of videos showing me doing this. If you haven't seen any of them, maybe thinking about subscribing. Because clearly, you haven't yet. Well, you might have, I don't know. But I'm just cutting this in glazing putty. You don't need to watch me do that. I am probably going to just skip forward to this entire thing covered. So, yeah. I'm going to pause it, because if I keep it going, I just talk and talk and talk and talk. If I pause it, I get the thing done. So after an absolute ton of sanding, we're ready for paint. It looks fantastic. I am happy with how it's turning out. I love how it looks. It's still real rough to get into, so I don't know. I don't know about this yet. But we're going to prime it and see where we're at after that. Doesn't lay right on the mannequin, by the way. But check that out. This is gonna go like here. It's not bad. Let's pull you up so you can look at it. Let's get a little reveal. So again, this piece isn't done yet. It's just kind of resting here for now. But the panel, I like the panel. It looks pretty good. Here's the front. Now, I still have a little bit of a primer to do in a couple spots. I want to leave most of the painting for the end, so it's all one uniform color. I don't want to have weird dye lots or anything like that. Look at that. That's pretty neat. Getting it on the mannequin did not make me happy. Well, let's just leave him here for a minute. We'll come back. There. The ab plate I printed didn't print properly. It's got a kind of a banana to it, so I can't just put this piece in place. But let's back up for a second. I'm happy with him. He looks good. Putting it on the mannequin was kind of difficult. Like with the helmet, there's probably going to be a prototype or two. I'm going to try and film as much of the second part off camera as possible. It's just, I make weekly content, so my prototypes have to be on screen as well. It doesn't fit quite right. It's a little weird in the chest. Like I said, I may put in connectors on the end so I can take this entire piece off and put it on as one solid piece. Like the chest locks in, the sides lock in. I haven't quite decided yet. We're not at that stage. This is going to be a long one. This is not going to be a quick build. This is 2 sets of armor, and I'm doing this all on my onesies. But, you know, I'm excited about it. It's interesting. It's got potential. It's something I've wanted since I was a little hawkling. But this is your kind of thing. If you're interested in seeing where we're going with this, maybe like and subscribe. Thanks for making it to the end. Hope I see you next time.